U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Tel Aviv on Sunday on a Middle East tour aimed at intensifying diplomatic pressure to achieve a ceasefire deal in Gaza this week to end the bloodshed between Israel and Hamas. On his 10th trip to the region since the war began in October, Blinken will meet on Monday with senior Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a senior State Department official said. After Israel, Blinken will continue on to Egypt. The talks to strike a deal for a truce and return of hostages held in Gaza were now at an inflection point, a senior Biden administration official told reporters en route to Tel Aviv, adding Blinken was going to stress to all parties the importance of getting this deal over the finish line. "We think this is a critical time," the official said. The mediating countries Qatar, the United States, and Egypt have so far failed to reach a deal in months of on-off negotiations, and bloodshed continued unabated in Gaza on Sunday. A strike killed at least 21 people, including 6 children, in Gaza on Sunday, Palestinian health authorities said. The children and their mother were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a house in the central town of Deir al-Balah, health officials said. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military. The military said it destroyed rocket launchers used to hit Israel from the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, the scene of intense fighting in recent weeks, and killed 20 Palestinian militants. The talks toward a ceasefire are set to continue this week in Cairo following a 2-day meeting in Doha last week. Blinken will try to reach a breakthrough after the U.S. put forward bridging proposals that the mediating countries believe would close gaps between the warring parties. There has been increased urgency to reach a ceasefire deal amid fears of escalation across the wider region. Iran has threatened to retaliate against Israel after the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran on July 31st. Mourning at hospital. At Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah, relatives gathered around the bodies of the mother and her 6 children, who were wrapped in white shrouds bearing their names. The youngest was aged 18 months, their grandfather Mohammed Khattab told Reuters at the funeral. What was their crime? Did they kill a Jew? Did they shoot at the Jews? Did they launch rockets at the Jews? Did they destroy the state of Israel? What did they do? What did they do to deserve this? Said Khattab. Israel has denied targeting civilians as it hunts down Hamas militants, accusing the group of operating from civilian facilities including schools and hospitals. Hamas denies this. After 10 months of war, Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are living in constant desperation to find a safe place. "We are tired of displacement. People are being pushed into narrow areas in Deir al-Balah and al-Mawasi, which have become pressure cookers," Tamer al-Borai, who lives in Deir al-Balah with several relatives, told Reuters via a chat app. Tanks were just 1.5 km, 0.9 miles away, Borai added. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said Friday's orders, which included other parts of Gaza outside the humanitarian zones, had reduced the size of the humanitarian area designated as safe by Israeli forces to about 11% of the total area of the territory. Complex talks. The war erupted on October 7 when Hamas militants rampaged into Israel, killing around 1,200 people and seizing around 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Israel's subsequent military campaign has killed more than 40,000 Palestinians, mostly civilians, according to Palestinian health authorities, and reduced much of Gaza to rubble. Israel says it has killed 17,000 Hamas combatants. Netanyahu's office described the ceasefire talks as complex and said it was conducting negotiations, not giving way in negotiations. Israel remained firmly committed to principles established for its security in the May 27 outline proposals, the office said in a statement following a meeting of the cabinet. "I would like to emphasize we are conducting negotiations and not a scenario in which we just give, Netanyahu told the meeting. There are things we can be flexible on and things that we cannot be flexible on, which we will insist on. Strong military and diplomatic pressure are the way to secure the release of our hostages," Netanyahu said. Hamas said that optimistic U.S. comments were deceptive and accused Netanyahu of making new conditions in an attempt to blow up the negotiation. While details of the negotiations have not been made public, there have been differences over several key issues. Disagreements include whether Israeli troops should remain present in Gaza after the fighting ends, notably along the so-called Philadelphia corridor on the border with Egypt, and over checks on people going into northern Gaza from the south, which Israel says is needed to stop armed militants. Hamas has pushed for a ceasefire deal to end the war, while Israel has not been willing to agree to go beyond the temporary pause in the fighting.